52 years. 52 years. A lot has transpired over 52 years. We've had revolutions, we've had assassinations, we have computers, but one of the few things that has remained constant is Packy languishing in captivity all this time.
The metro area is no stranger to compassion. We're known for that. Now may that compassion extend to Packy.
And the only events that the zoo hosts now are for bringing money, and the bottom line is always cash. Metro needs to realize that the zoo is an educational facility with a living collection and treat it as such.
I am angry that I have been the victim of a bait-and-switch scam by the zoo. I am urging Metro to use the off-site land as a reserve to give our current elephants the space they were promised and to halt plans for further breeding. We can do better. And please, let's send Packy to a sanctuary.
How would you like to be in house arrest for 50, 60 years? Would you enjoy it? Would you like to try it? Do you think you can endure it? I doubt it. I think you'd all punk out compared to Packy. That's why I'm voting for Packy.
If I were you, I would be calling Bob Barker to pay for the trip south for Packy and Rama before they die.
Elephants do not belong in zoos. Children know this, we know this, Rose too knows this. And as we all know, elephants never forget, nor should we.
Morally and ethically, we distance ourselves from the rest of the animal kingdom as we fancy our own species as far superior. Are we really? It's sometimes not apparent.
Here you see a video of Packy exhibiting the trunk swinging and rocking behavior that Bob denies. And if you still question this, and if you doubt, go to the zoo yourself and see it firsthand. I demand that you stop supporting elephant abuse by eliminating all subsidies for the Oregon Zoo based on its continued abuse of elephants and its waste of taxpayer money. Free Packy.
$25 billion is the entire annual budget for the Kenya Wildlife Service, which protects more than 30,000 elephants across more than 20,000 square miles of natural habitat. In contrast, the total combined size of all U.S. zoo elephant enclosures is less than 1 square mile. In conclusion, please free Packy.
What message are we sending our children when these grand, majestic, loving mammals are suffering daily with infections and disease and are forced to work and live every day in this zoo? Please free Packy and the other elephants.
We, as sentient beings, have the choice of speaking up for ourselves, of hiring a lawyer, of going out and getting justice. These elephants do not. And so we need to speak up for them, and we need to do it now. So, free Packy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Elephants are known to be sensitive to deep vibration. They can hear thunderstorms from hundreds of miles away through their feet. I can't imagine what it's like to be an elephant half a football field away from a loud rock and roll band. They're violating their mission to, quote, inspire the community to respect animals by, quote, advancing the highest level of animal welfare. I think it is becoming an entertainment center, and that's wrong. Thank you so much.
First, Packy the old bull, who's lived in our zoo for every minute of his 52 years, should be released to pause. The sanctuary in California, which is a warmer climate with a vastly larger, quiet, natural environment. And I invite one of you to go to pause and see firsthand the recovery of elephants and the remarkable elephant management system. If one of you is willing to make that trip, I will personally pay for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Packy has paid his dues and deserves a peaceful retirement. This council has the power, and I would say the duty, to make things right.
This maybe juvenile little mask that I brought in today says something very simple. Save me. I want to live free.
Aren't we a modern, static society that's changing, especially Portland? I mean, I'm so proud to live here. It's a great town, but we need to change on this. We need to look at a different way. This is not right.
These elephants have suffered far too long and far too much. Enough is enough. To paraphrase a well-known figure in ancient history's words, let these creatures go.
It isn't only the Toronto Zoo that's figured it out. Every one of the zoos that's closed its elephant exhibits is doing as well or better than before, able to spend the money they've saved on species reintroduction projects, like the condors, for example, something that every citizen can get behind. You realize that those Canadians aren't so radical after all. Somehow closing a zoo's elephant exhibit is becoming the norm. It isn't a race, but it might be shaping up to be. Don't let Portland come in last.
Elephant-free zoos, free Packy.
Elephants are one of the most emotional creatures on the planet, and I'm here with my community members to demand the Packy be freed now, along with the rest of the elephants at the Oregon Zoo.
Please send Packy and Rama to a sanctuary as soon as possible.
Do not pretend that 4 acres will satisfy the complex needs of the world's largest land mammals. Elephant Lands is an elephant boondoggle. Do what science and compassion dictate. Free Packy now.
Metro has failed to answer its most important stakeholders, the citizens who elected you. I do not ask, I demand that each of you make good on the promises you made to me in 2008. Stop breeding elephants, procure the off-site preserve you promised, and procure it now, or release the elephants to a sanctuary who can properly care for them. I beseech you, please, to do the right thing and retire Packy. He is sick, unhappy, and deserves to experience life outside of the concrete prison that you have held him in for all these years.
In an effort to regain the public's trust, the following steps must be taken. Stop supporting elephant abuse by eliminating all subsidies for the Oregon Zoo. Next, put an immediate halt to the elephant breeding program. Next, provide the public with a complete accounting and explanation for the increased cost of expanding the elephant exhibit and the decrease in funding for the off-site reserve. Provide taxpayers and the citizens an explanation why, during the 2008 bond campaign, you so aggressively promoted the establishment of an off-site reserve. Tell us how you plan to correct all this. And while you're at it, free Packy.
Thank you. This is my 4th time here, taking off early from work as everyone else has, and because it's important to us. And yet, we don't get any answers. And anything that has Metro on it, I'm going to question in the future. You don't have my trust anymore.
I must say I feel ashamed to be a resident of Portland, knowing that elephants are still captured in zoos.
We don't need more captively bred elephants in the world. We need to preserve natural habitat in their native lands. And knowing for many decades that elephants suffer in confinement makes their captivity all the more cruel. If Metro wants to protect elephants from extinction and improve the budget, it'll phase out the zoo's elephant program.
The city is asking you to free Packy to sanctuary, not just because of the clear animal welfare issues that have all been brought up, but to preserve the integrity and the credibility of our city's reputation.
Let's say that 6 years back, Portland taxpayers somehow had a vision of where things stand today. Do you think the bond measure would have passed, honestly? Or conversely, would you have pushed the bond measure to be passed if you had known that this is the state that it would be at 6 years from then? An honest answer would tell you that the public's trust has been severely damaged.
In 1998, I coordinated the first North American Elephant Foot Care Conference at the Oregon Zoo. And the resulting book can be summarized in one sentence. There is a general consensus that lack of exercise, long hours standing on a hard substrate, and contamination resulting from standing in their own excreta are major contributors to elephant foot problem. The solution really is a sanctuary. There's been miraculous recoveries, and that's probably where our elephants should all wind up eventually, not to have more of them bred.
This issue will just get bigger and more national and larger, free Packy. And obviously this is a bigger issue for me because now after what I've heard today, you have no right to hold any elephant here in Portland. I think the whole herd needs to move today. Thank you.
I think you're all as shocked as I am with the reveal of the treatment.
treatment of the elephants. It's unconscionable, really, to say the least. After all these years, these elephants deserve some peace and freedom. So please set Packy free.
I spent several months overseas this past winter studying the elephant abuse in Thailand, Cambodia, and Sri Lanka. What shocked me beyond measure is the amount of people in Thailand and Cambodia and Sri Lanka who said, "Oh, you're from Portland? You're from where they have the Iron Maiden," which for those of you who don't know is called the rape rack in the breeding program here. And I didn't know why I was 6,000 miles away when in my own backyard, the same cruelties were being committed. And if we are truly holding this zoo open to educate our children, I ask you what we are educating them. Because 50 fourth graders told me on Monday, and I quote, "Compassion trumps captivity."
We have an opportunity to do something that's forward-thinking, amazing, inspirational, and something that we can be proud of. And I think what I've seen here today is that you have the support to do that, if you so choose. And I hope that you do.
Last fall, I had the luck to go to Africa and see elephants in the wild, and the difference is utterly incredible. I've also been in India and seen the temple elephants, and they are abused, but certainly not more or less than what we have here. And I'm sorry that I voted for that measure in 2008.
When is enough for an elephant? What do you want from him? You got kids, you got you know what from him, semen from him, you've got all the photos from him. He's done his job. He couldn't even make it for a 52nd birthday. I mean, you know, what next? How much more do you want from him? How much? What is Time magazine going to say when he passes away? He's very sick. Nobody's talking about it. We want those medical records released. It's our money. We're paying for this, and we're not going to stop. We are not stopping.
Okay, everybody hold up your sign. Free Packy!